Live for nothing or die for something. Rambo First Blood was not just an action movie, it was a bruised psychological portrait of a nation still bleeding from war. The production erupts with clashes between tone and studio fear. Stunts turn reckless. Performers collide with local authorities. The ending nearly collapses under executive panic. This video reveals 15 weird facts about Rambo First Blood. Fact number 15. Rambo First Blood begins as a quiet character study, not a muscle-bound spectacle. What audiences do not know is that the earliest cut barely resembles the released film. Stallone delivers long silences and internalized rage instead of speeches. Test screenings collapse. Viewers sit confused and restless. The studio panics. Executives fear they financed an art film wearing combat boots. Editors are ordered to reshape the movie through pace, not plot. Dialogue is stripped. Reaction shots are trimmed. Music is pushed forward. It is not rewritten through words. It is rebuilt through rhythm. The result becomes leaner and angrier, not introspective but confrontational. This single editorial shift turns Rambo from a drifting veteran into a ticking weapon. The movie survives not because it explains trauma, but because it lets it detonate without warning. Fact number 14. The sheriff antagonist is not written as a villain originally. He is meant to represent institutional blindness, not cruelty. During production, the performance hardens scene by scene. The actor studies real small-town authority figures who distrust outsiders. Tension grows on set. Scenes escalate beyond the script. Body language becomes confrontational. Voices sharpen. This is not method acting. It is observation weaponized. What audiences feel as hatred is actually indifference turned hostile. The sheriff does not see Rambo as human. He sees a problem to remove. That choice reshapes the entire moral weight of the film. It is not hero versus villain. It is person versus system. The violence lands heavier because it feels procedural, cold, routine. That realism unsettles viewers more than any explosion. Authority becomes the monster without ever raising its voice. Fact number 13. The forest pursuit sequences are filmed under brutal conditions. Cold rain soaks equipment and crew for days. Mud ruins continuity and morale. Safety lines snap. Falls are real. Injuries stack quietly. Stallone breaks ribs during a stunt and keeps going. Not bravado, but pressure. The schedule cannot slip. The production cannot afford delays. What audiences see as feral intensity is actual exhaustion bleeding through performance. Breath is not controlled. Pain is not simulated. This is not choreography. It is survival captured by accident. The camera shakes because operators are slipping. Framing breaks because focus pullers are fighting weather. The chaos becomes texture. It grounds the film in physical consequence. Rambo does not feel unstoppable. He feels hunted and hurting. That truth comes from a set that refuses to protect comfort. Fact number 12. The National Guard scenes nearly derail the entire production. Military cooperation is limited. Equipment access changes daily. Commanders object to portrayal. Schedules collapse. Filmmakers improvise constantly. Vehicles are borrowed then reclaimed. Uniform accuracy becomes a daily argument. This is not patriotic endorsement. It is logistical warfare. The film threads a needle between realism and permission. What audiences miss is how close these scenes come to cancellation. Each explosion requires negotiation. Each shot risks shutdown. That tension bleeds on screen. The Guard feels unprepared and overwhelmed because the production mirrors that instability. The movie does not glorify force. It exposes confusion. Guns are loud, but direction is absent. Orders contradict. Control evaporates. That authenticity is not planned. It is captured under pressure and compromise. Fact number 11. The iconic breakdown near the end almost does not exist. Studio notes demand removal. Executives argue the speech slows momentum. Action should end loud, not vulnerable. Stallone fights back. He insists this is the movie, not the traps, not the body count, the collapse. The speech draws from real veteran interviews, not polished, not theatrical, raw and fragmented. When filmed, the set falls silent. Crew members stop moving. Tears appear without prompting. This is not acting showing off. It is confession under lights. The studio relents only after seeing reactions. That scene reframes everything before it. Violence becomes symptom, not solution. Rambo is not a weapon. He is a consequence. Without this moment, the film becomes noise. With it, the movie becomes a wound that refuses to close. Fact number 10. The helicopter chase is not planned to be as dangerous as it becomes. Weather turns suddenly. Wind surges through the canyon. Visibility drops. The pilot struggles to maintain control while flying dangerously low. Stallone performs close to the edge without stunt doubles for several passes. At one point, he is slammed against the mountainside and barely avoids falling. This is not movie magic. It is real fear captured on film. The scream is not scripted. It is instinct. Go ahead and like and subscribe because this moment could have ended the movie permanently. What audiences feel as adrenaline is proximity to disaster. The production keeps rolling because stopping feels riskier than continuing. That decision locks the film into history, not as spectacle, but as evidence of how far the line was pushed without a safety net. Act number 9. The town destruction sequence is filmed with real local tension simmering beneath the surface. Residents are not just extras. Many disagree with the story being told. They see the town portrayed as cruel and hostile. Arguments break out between crew and locals. Access is threatened. Police cooperation becomes fragile. What unfolds on screen reflects real resentment. Broken windows and chaos mirror the mood off camera. This is not a controlled backlot. It is a working town pushed into narrative conflict. The film absorbs that hostility and amplifies it. Rambo tearing through the streets feels invasive because it is. The movie does not soften the impact. It lets discomfort stand. The town is not evil. It is defensive. That nuance survives because the production itself walks a thin line between storytelling and intrusion. Fact number 8. Stallone rewrites large portions of his own dialogue during production, not to sound tougher, but to say less. He believes Rambo speaks through action, not explanation. Pages disappear overnight. Scenes are reshaped minutes before shooting. Directors argue, then adapt. Silence replaces speeches. This choice terrifies the studio. They fear audiences will not connect. The opposite happens. Viewers project emotion into the gaps. Rambo becomes mythic because he is unreadable. What audiences do not know is how deliberate that restraint is. It is not laziness. It is control. By removing language, the film forces attention onto movement and reaction. Pain is shown, not described. Trauma breathes in pauses. The character becomes iconic not through words, but through what he refuses to say. Fact number 7. The score almost breaks the film. Early music cues push heroic tones that clash with the story. Test audiences feel confused. Is this triumph or tragedy? The composer reworks themes to sound mournful instead of victorious. Notes stretch, melodies ache, percussion pulls back. This shift changes everything. Action scenes gain sadness instead of celebration. Rambo running is not escape, it is exile. The music tells the truth the images hide. What audiences respond to emotionally is not violence, but loss. The score becomes the conscience of the film. Without it, Rambo First Blood risks becoming propaganda. With it, the movie mourns rather than cheers. Sound design becomes storytelling. It guides feeling without instruction. The final cut survives because the music refuses to lie. Fact number 6. The ending you know is not the ending originally planned. In early versions, Rambo dies by suicide. The moment is bleak and final. The studio recoils. They fear backlash and despair. Stallone argues the point fiercely. He believes death would betray the message. Survival is not victory. It is burden. The ending is rewritten to leave Rambo alive but shattered, arrested not redeemed. This compromise shapes the legacy of the character. Rambo becomes a man who must live with damage, not a martyr, but a reminder. What audiences leave with is unresolved pain. That discomfort lingers longer than closure ever could. The choice to let him live changes cinema history and opens the door for sequels that would reinterpret him entirely. Fact number 5. The knife is not just a prop. It becomes a psychological anchor for the character. Stallone insists on designing it himself because he wants it to feel like survival, not decoration. Every tool inside the handle reflects real field utility. Sewing needle, fishing line, matches. This is not fantasy gear. It is desperation made physical. During filming, Stallone keeps the knife on him between takes. It grounds his posture and movement. Crew members notice how his body language shifts when it is removed. Rambo slouches without it. With it, he straightens and sharpens. What audiences do not realize is that the knife defines the character more than the gun. Guns are loud and temporary. The blade is intimate and constant. It symbolizes self-reliance born from abandonment. When Rambo grips it, he is not threatening others. He is reminding himself how to survive when no one comes back for him. Fact number 4. The traps are designed to injure, not kill, by deliberate choice. Early drafts feature far deadlier outcomes. Stallone pushes back. He wants Rambo to be dangerous, but not monstrous. The wounds inflicted are humiliating and painful rather than fatal. Pants torn, pride shattered, bodies trapped and exposed. This reframes the violence. It becomes tactical restraint rather than rage. What audiences feel as cruelty is actually control under pressure. The character lashes out but pulls back instinctively. That restraint reflects internal conflict. He is trained to destroy, yet refuses to cross a final line. The production emphasizes this through camera angles that linger on consequences rather than impact. Screams echo longer than explosions. The pain matters more than the hit. This choice keeps the film morally uneasy. Viewers are forced to question who escalates first and who refuses to stop. Fact number 3. The film captures post-war trauma before the culture has language for it. During production, the term post-traumatic stress disorder is barely understood by mainstream audiences. The script references it cautiously. Stallone studies veteran testimonies privately. Nightmares, sudden rage, isolation. These details are woven quietly into performance rather than spoken aloud. What audiences experience is recognition without explanation. The film trusts viewers to feel the truth even if they cannot name it. This makes the movie uncomfortable and ahead of its time. It does not offer therapy or solutions. It presents symptoms and leaves them raw. That honesty unsettles critics and viewers alike. Some misread it as aggression. Others see themselves for the first time. The cultural impact grows slowly. Years later, the film is re-evaluated not as action, but as diagnosis, delivered through cinema. Fact number 2. The director constantly battles tone throughout filming. Every day threatens to tip into exploitation or sentimentality. Scenes are reblocked repeatedly to avoid spectacle. Violence is framed as messy and disorienting. Close-ups replace wide shots to deny grandeur. This is not accidental. It is discipline under fire. The studio pressures for clearer hero beats. The director resists quietly. He lets confusion remain. Viewers are not told how to feel. They are placed inside chaos. That choice frustrates executives, but preserves integrity. The movie breathes uneasily because it refuses certainty. Rambo is neither villain nor savior. He is motion without direction. The director protects that ambiguity at great personal cost. Arguments erupt. Authority clashes. In the end, the film survives because no one fully wins the fight. Compromise leaves scars that become part of the texture. Fact number 1. The bonus fact changes everything. The title First Blood refers not to violence, but to initiation. Rambo does not start the war in the film. He responds after being pushed beyond dignity. The phrase reflects a breaking point rather than aggression. What audiences often miss is that Rambo never wants conflict. He wants passage, food, a place to exist. The moment blood is drawn, the system reveals itself as fragile and cruel. This recontextualizes the entire story. Rambo is not the spark. He is the mirror. The movie becomes an indictment of how institutions provoke what they claim to fear. Its legacy is misunderstood because later sequels reverse the meaning. First Blood stands alone as a warning. Push people far enough and survival becomes rebellion. That truth lingers long after the gunfire fades. Rambo First Blood endures because it refuses comfort. It exposes damage instead of celebrating power. It survives not as myth, but as memory. If you felt something watching it now, you know why it still matters. Remember, this film is not about winning. It is about what happens after you are trained to lose everything.